This is Mondo. He's a Savannah cat. He hisses like a snake. He weighs 30 pounds and he's part wild serval and part domestic kitty. So how dangerous is it to keep a semi-wild animal in your home? Wildcats are illegal as pets. Since servals are one of them, many families who find them absolutely breathtaking can't own them. Or should we say, couldn't own them. Right now, if you live in the U.S., you can own one, unless you live in Massachusetts, Georgia, Texas, or Hawaii. Strangely enough, Savannahs are allowed in New York State, but not in New York City. That's because many of these states and one city don't recognize the Savannah as a domestic cat, and Australia has banned it outright. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. First, let's take a look at what it takes to own a Savannah cat. Because of the difficulty breeding, Savannah cats are very rare. Their rarity makes them expensive. A lot more expensive than your average cat. However, if you live in a state that allows domestic Savannah ownership, then you can expect to pay around $20,000. And that's not all. Because this is one of the rare cats that's wild and as big as a dog, you'll need a lot of room for the cat to roam around and explore. Some owners build a special play area surrounded by a fence on all sides. This way, the Savannah is protected from the outside world while still exploring. To give you a little perspective of just how big these guys are, here's one jumping 8 feet in the air and catching that small piece of rope. In fact, they jump higher and farther than any other domestic breed. Because they're part serval, Savannahs have very long legs, which gives them an average height of 17 inches. Even though their tall legs make them look large, their weight doesn't exceed that of a domestic cat of similar size. In fact, some domestic cats can grow heavier than these half-feral cats. The Savannah can grow to an average weight of between 20 and 30 pounds. And if well taken care of, these cats will live for 20 years. However, their average lifespan is 16 years. While some owners fear the wild elements of a Savannah cat, others like them precisely because of it. Just like the serval, the Savannah cats have black teardrop marks on each cheek, which helps them reflect light when hunting. Their ears spin 180 degrees, which allows them to hear and detect prey easily. They also have hooded eyes, which gives them their distinguished and exotic look. Couple that with a very long neck and short but thick tail, and you have a distinct-looking Savannah. However, the wildest of all their traits has to be the snake hissing. Now, an average cat hiss is something we've all heard. However, this one is quite distressing and might catch new cat owners off guard. The snake hiss comes from Savannah's ancestor, the serval. This cat used to smash that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, the serval used to mimic the hissing of snakes to warn off predators. And today, the Savannah cat has retained this scary characteristic. If you're wondering about their personality, the simplest advice would be, don't. They're very curious, seek out adventure, are active, and want to interact with people or other cats every day. Because of this, they'll likely bond strongly with the family that owns it. One strange thing they like to do is play fetch with the owner. Unlike most cats, the Savannah loves water. Some owners even state that the cat will take their paws, dip them in their drinking water, then try to clean themselves with it. Other times, they'll bat the water bowl with their paws until there's nothing left inside. Many cats like it so much that they'll even immerse themselves fully in water. And some owners like to take showers with their Savannah cats. It's quite a unique experience. The owners of Savannah cats have become big fans of the animal. Almost all of them love the fact that the Savannah is a unique and exotic pet that loves to live life on its own terms. This might be one of the downsides of owning a Savannah. If you're used to other domestic cats, you'll likely think that the Savannah will jump on your lap. You'll start petting it and it'll start purring. This won't happen. Although loyal, they will show you affection when they feel like it, and of course this means following you around, greeting you and other family members at the door, and even headbutting into you. But that's pretty much all you can expect. Oh yeah, they can be trained to walk on a leash just like a dog. Because they like to explore and go on adventures, you'll need to pay close attention to them. Mondo, the cat we mentioned at the beginning of this video, managed to escape the cat sitter and was found 12 miles away from his home. While the family was worried sick, thinking he had escaped to a nearby forest, Mondo found a new home. In a small town, a lady found him wandering in the night. She was scared to approach Mondo because he looked like a wildcat. As she got closer, the lady realized this was not a wildcat. It looked like one, but it sure didn't behave like one. The lady took him home and took care of him for 2 weeks. During this time, Mondo's new family was scouring the web, hoping to find the people that lost him. And then she came across posters of Mondo on the internet. She'd never heard of a Savannah cat before and was hesitant to email the original owners. Once she did, they immediately recognized him and went to pick him up the next day. Mondo was back with his original family, and he was just as happy as ever. That's why we said you need to pay very close attention to their whereabouts, especially if they're an F1 Savannah. F1 is the symbol of filial system, and it measures the percentage of wild genes in the animal. For example, the first Savannah cat, born in 1986, was a female domestic cat and a male African serval. The kitten that was born was 50% serval and 50% domestic cat. Because it's 50% wildcat, this is the F1 generation. Fun fact, this cat was named Savannah by the owner, which is where the species got its name. Then a man named Patrick Kelly heard about the cat breed, and together with Joyce Roof, a professional cat breeder, they bred another Savannah cat in the 90s. Because the male Savannahs are sterile until generation F5, they take an F1 female cat, which is fertile, and breed it with another domestic cat. The resulting babies are now of the F2 generation and are only 25% wildcat. Still, breeding these animals is extremely difficult because they have different gestation periods. For servals, it's 75 days, while for domestic cats, the time is 65 days. This is further complicated by the fact of the incompatibilities between the sex chromosomes of the two cats. As a result, some of the kittens are born prematurely, and in many instances, they're either absorbed or aborted by the mother. Depending on the generation, these Savannah cats may hide away and hiss at humans. For example, the F1 generation, because it's 50% serval, will be more likely to hiss and hide away when it sees humans. If this behavior is left uncorrected while the cat is still very young, they'll do it when they're grown. So how do you correct it? Well, the most important thing is exposure. Expose the Savannah cat to other people and pets, and the pet will become more sociable. The F2 generation doesn't seem to have this problem. They're calm around humans, and the growling and hissing seems to disappear. The F1 generation of cats can behave ferally, so they're not suitable for inexperienced owners. However, in the beginning, we said that Australia has banned the Savannah cat. Is that because the Savannah cat is partially wild? Well, mainly because the Australian government fears that this larger cat can threaten some of the native wildlife species, which aren't currently under threat by any domestic cat. In addition to this, they also warned that the Savannah cat's enhanced hunting skills and its body size can change the feral cats in Australia after breeding. And that's more bad news for the native species. Unlike Australia, Canada has no restrictions on Savannah cat ownership. However, some of the provinces have a restriction about owning F1 and F2 generations. Incidentally, most of the other countries of the world have restrictions for the F1 and F2 generations, considering them to be wilder than a domestic cat, but later generations can be owned by anyone, assuming you want to pay the premium price and have the space. YouTube thinks you should watch this video next.